What's up guys, welcome back for another deck profile. Today's is of course going to be on Hannibal Barca, and Hannibal Barca isn't as competitive as Vlad is, and neither are the other three Vingolf rulers, but I still wanted to have fun with them, and instead of maybe going for a pure competitive edge, I wanted to kind of just take a theme version of it, and instead of trying to make it like, as playable as possible, I just go with the theme of what the ruler tries to do. So Hannibal Barca on enter destroys a rested Resonator and gains 200 life when it heals, so I wanted to go for a kind of rest everything kind of deck and maybe have some heals in there. So let's see what I put together. So for my magic stones, I decided to run a little red the pure stone, which I can call either white or red on because there is a splash of red in this deck. 4 light red for the splash of red like I mentioned, and just 5 mono stones of white. For the Resonators, I decided to run 4 Holy Warrior of Hope because I still think this is an amazing one-drop. I wanted to be able to apply a lot of pressure with this deck so my opponent is forced to rest all of the Resonators and attempts to block my cards, and then if needed I could J-activate and destroy them. 4 Percival because there is a Night Engine in this deck and some Leviathan and Excalibur, so I wanted to be able to search those out. 4 of Semme. This card is like the main card that I wanted to add in this deck because when I saw it I thought it was perfect. On enter, this card rests a target Resonator your opponent controls, so it's just a one drop. Technically, it leads into the J-activate for Hannibal and just destroys whatever Resonator they have. 4 Gwaine. Not only does Gwaine give 200 attack to all other knights, but when he attacks you get to rest a target Resonator, so I thought it was perfect to think that he could technically rest everything your opponent controls and then just leave him for bait for Hannibal. 2 Galahad. Galahad's one of those cards I mentioned where it kind of does both of what Hannibal's going for. When this card attacks, you gain 500 life, just like when Hannibal attacks, you gain 200 life. And then when Galahad is destroyed, he actually rests a target Resonator your opponent controls. 3 Lancelot. I only decided to run 3 because I didn't want to have too much on the double cost of fire. There's a lot to summon in this deck that does a lot of good damage or setup like Gwaine, and I wanted to see those cards before I saw Lancelot's. And what's good about Lancelot is if you do call red on Little Pierstone and you can get his effect off with Gwaine and Little Red, you can technically attack with Gwaine, rest the Resonator, attack into the rested Resonator with Lancelot, and then deal 700 damage to something that's not rested, and then you would technically destroy both. So it's kind of nice to be able to just rest everything and take out all of the Resonators. 3 Eye the Pilot. Eye also rests on enter and he costs 3. You can pay 5 for its awakening in total and be able to summon a Little Prince. I have Little Princes sided because I didn't find them necessary, but I thought it was just a great 3-drop for 8/8 that rests as well. And 2 Gwyber because late game if you do have any 1-drops that are just a little not strong enough, or like even if you try to rest something with Semme later on in the game, it might not be as effective. So I like to think that those cards can now rest stuff and also just make Gwyber cost less, so they kind of have like a dual reason to be played. For the spells, I run 2 Excalibur because it gets it out of Flame's range. Of course, if they try to Flame first, you will die, but I figured a lot of people aren't running too much Fire Dark right now, so it's not too much of a problem. And I like Hannibal being strong enough to be able to crash into things because it does have target attack. 2 Leviathan to give it swiftness as well. These are also great because it can give them imperishable, and if Hannibal gets imperishable, you could just rest something and come back and destroy that as well, so it's just a bunch of removal. 4 Thunder for just small spot removal and direct damage if need be. 4 Justice Godsword because like I mentioned in my other videos, I like having 8 little kind of removal cards like this. It also makes sure that if you can't get over something with Hannibal's effect because you've already J-activated or she's destroyed, you can technically just add this to something when it's attacking, and it should be enough damage to destroy anything. I mean, with Lancelot it's alone 1100 damage. And then 2 Dream of Juliet. Dream of Juliet is just like a very protective card in this deck. I haven't really had any problems with destroying additions because people aren't running them too much, but it's also nice to be able to draw a card or just blink something, so it's not a bad addition. I like it at 2. For my side deck, I decided to run 2 Little Prince. Little Prince is good because it comes out with Eye, so I figured it doesn't hurt to side it as well against the burn matchup, and you could just pay its regular cost 2 and it'll come out with 1000 heal if you're less than 1000. And it's also nice because you do have a lot of 1-drops, a couple 3-drops in Gwyber, so he could get pumped up really quickly. 2 Able for removal for stuff like elves or anything that just swarms the field with a bunch of Resonators. 1 Elmir's just because I like the thought of having one in a light deck. For decks like this where you might be overwhelmed, I like being able to just drop something unexpected and take out an attacking Resonator. I think that effect is just great. 4 Susano for the Bahamut matchup. Even though I said this deck isn't specifically really competitive, it doesn't mean that you can't try your best to be able to fight those matchups. I mean, you never know when a rogue deck like this is going to win, and I think that's, why not give yourself the chance. 2 Ghost Flame, I like it for spot removal, but it's also nice for 300 direct if you really need to. I don't know why, I've just been really in love with this card lately, and I just like playing it at least inside. 2 Order of the Sacred Queen. This is kind of just with the theme again. You pay 3, it rests the target Resonator, and everything else you control gains 4/4. So not only can something that you rest not attack, but you can technically use this to bait out something to tap and then attack it with, destroy it with Hannibal. And then 2 Jeweled Branch of Aura. This is the same concept. If you're going against a fire or dark deck, you can rest them. And the reason why I didn't like this card before in my other light decks is because when I played at the Anime Expo Regionals, somebody used this on my Mephistopheles so many times that they went from 4,000 life to 10, and then I just double thundered them twice for the game. And I never really felt like, why are you going to use a card that stops me instead of technically being able to just remove the card? But in this deck, it would stay on the field and just keep resting stuff, and then you would always get Hannibal's Enter effect if you can keep getting Imperishable, or even just once. It's nice to know that you would get an actual destruction from this eventually, and then it would just stop attacks later down the road. So that was Hannibal Barca's deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it because it is a really fun deck to play. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. If you want to see the shorter version just for the deck list, I'll have that posted as well. And if you guys want to see more deck profiles, make sure to subscribe because I have one coming tomorrow and then 5 more coming next week. And I will catch you guys next time.